The universe did not notice Earth. It never did. Across the observable cosmos, stars lived and died in silence, their light stretching thin as it crossed the void. Civilizations, if they existed at all, rose and collapsed without witnesses. Physics ruled everything with equal cruelty, enforcing conservation, entropy, and consequence without exception. In a spiral arm of an unremarkable galaxy, around a middle-aged yellow star catalogued in no meaningful registry, orbited a planet designated NMA 443*. Locally, it was called Earth. NMA 443 was dense for its size, rich in iron and heavy elements, wrapped in a magnetic field strong enough to deflect most stellar radiation and foolish enough to lull its dominant species into thinking the sky was safe. Its crust floated on restless plates. Its core burned and spun. Its gravity pinned oceans, cities, and ambitions firmly to the ground. Mass mattered here. It always had. The dominant species, humans, had built their civilization around the manipulation of mass. They extracted it, reshaped it, moved it, burned it, and measured their progress by how efficiently they could make heavy things obey lighter ones. Steel skyscrapers rose where forests once stood. Machines crossed continents in hours. Vehicles became extensions of identity, status, function. They did not realize how literal that relationship would become. 30 days before the apocalypse, the planet rotated as usual. ## zoom level. Planetary right pointing arrow continental. The largest landmass cluster on NMA 443 was known as Eurasia, a sprawl of tectonic scars and cultural fault lines stitched together by trade routes and conflict. On its eastern edge lay a nation-state that had, for the past century, specialized and controlled chaos, rapid industrialization, dense population, aggressive infrastructure growth. A country that loved machines. ## zoom level. National right pointing arrow regional. Within this nation lay Bay State, a coastal economic engine powered by ports, manufacturing zones, and financial districts stacked so tightly they appeared to compete for sunlight. The state government boasted about logistics efficiency and vehicle ownership rates. Roads spider-webbed outward from its cities-like circulatory systems. The more traffic a city had, the more alive it was considered. ## zoom level. City. Bay City was the crown jewel. A metropolis of 14 million people, layered vertically and horizontally, humming day and night with movement. Elevated highways carved through neighborhoods. Subways tunneled beneath older subways. Parking structures rose like monuments to impatience. Here, owning a vehicle was not a luxury. It was survival. ## zoom level. District. The North Harbor District sat between old shipping docks and new financial towers, a transitional zone where blue-collar work and white-collar ambition collided daily. Rent was high, space was scarce, streets were narrow and always full. At 6:47 a.m., traffic was already building. ## zoom level. Individual. Zach woke up to the sound of his alarm on the third vibration cycle. He hated that about himself, not the alarm, but the fact that he always waited for the third cycle. It meant he was awake before he admitted it. It meant his mind had already started calculating the day before his body caught up. Zach was 28 years old, average height, lean without trying, with the kind of face that people forgot easily. That had always suited him. He had learned early that being memorable attracted expectations. He did not like expectations. His apartment was small but clean, a one-bedroom box on the 12th floor overlooking an overpass that never slept. The constant flow of vehicles below formed a white noise river that masked thought and, occasionally, anxiety. He sat up, rubbed his eyes, and checked his phone. Weather, messages, bank balance, everything was normal. That, too, bothered him. Zach worked as a logistics systems analyst for a mid-sized freight coordination firm. His job was not to move things, but to make sure the people who moved things didn't waste mass, time, or fuel doing it. He understood weight limits, axle loads, torque curves, failure tolerances. He understood what happened when systems were pushed beyond design parameters. That understanding had made him cautious with money, cautious with risk, cautious with people. Which was why Nick loved to mock him. "Man, you live like the apocalypse is coming," Nick had said just the night before, leaning against his absurdly red Ferrari, grinning like physics didn't apply to him. "You gotta loosen up, Z." Nick Vallon was everything Zach wasn't. Loud, rich, fast. He treated mass like an inconvenience and speed like a religion. His car, imported, customized, impractical, was his pride. He talked about it the way some people talked about children. Mike was different. Mike Chen owned an SUV that was scratched, dented, and reliable to the point of boredom. He worked construction management, believed in redundancy, and laughed at Nick's recklessness while secretly admiring it. Mike understood weight, but in a practical way, load-bearing walls, safety margins, things that kept people alive. The three of them had met years ago through nothing more meaningful than proximity and habit. They ate together once a week, argued about work, complained about traffic. None of them knew they were already standing on a fault line. Zach dressed, brewed coffee, and watched the overpass from his window. Hundreds of vehicles flowed past every minute. Sedans, bikes, delivery vans, armored cash transports, buses carrying people who trusted metal frames with their lives. So much mass, so much proximity. For reasons he could not articulate, Zach felt a brief, irrational urge to catalog everything he owned that had an engine. Which wasn't much. He didn't have a car. Never needed one. Rentals, public transport, the occasional bike. He preferred liquidity, flexibility, control. He shook the thought away and headed out. Below him, traffic thickened. Above him, unseen and undetected, something ancient drifted closer to the planet's magnetosphere, something born not of intention but of interaction. A convergence of cosmic radiation shaped by stellar winds and electromagnetic anomalies. A phenomenon that did not care about species, only about mass and function. 30 days remained, and Earth, blissfully ignorant, continued to move its machines around like toys, never imagining that soon, they would move themselves.